Hey guys, in today's video, I want to talk about this lens right here, and this is the 7artisans 35mm f1.4 for the Fujifilm X mount. I've been enjoying what these third-party manufacturers have been doing, like when it comes to their when it comes to putting out lenses for the past couple of years. They started out, releasing manual focusing lenses and then moved their way onto autofocusing lenses. And one of those third-party Chinese lens manufacturers is 7artisans. Now, I've enjoyed a lot of their lenses in the past. I love it because their lenses produces not so clinical looking images, but one with loads of character. The lenses they produce, aside from a few exceptions, do tend to lean towards, the softer looking images. And this is one of the lenses. When you take a look at this lens right here, it's short and it's stubby, and on the lens you see the manual focusing ring right here. However, you do not see you don't see any aperture ring at all, only the manual focusing. At the side of the lens, you see the USB-C port right here, and it is covered up with something rubber, like a rubber cover right here. And it's not at the back of the mount, so this is something that 7artisan is doing to be different. And at the back of the mount, you get the digital contacts. However, there is no rubber gasket seal, so this is not weather sealed, so you just got to be mindful of shooting this outside. This lens is small, light, and compact, and I would say that this lens pairs very well with something like the Fujifilm XS20 or even my Fujifilm X-T5. The way this lens is built, it sort of reminds me of the Fujifilm XF 35mm f1.4. That lens is also short and stumpy as well. And another thing that reminds me of the XF 35mm f1.4 on this lens is its autofocusing. It's loud, it's slow to focus at times, and whenever there's like a contrasting scene, it does take a split second for it to hunt, then lock into focus. And it gets even more difficult for this lens to autofocus in dimly lit situation. When there is an ample amount of lighting, autofocusing performs just fine. That said, it's still one of the weakest autofocus experience that I've had in a while, but it also shows that third-party brands are evolving and there's plenty of room to grow. Now, when it comes to image quality at f1.4, even on my Fujifilm XS20, I'd say that it's not as sharp as other lenses that I've tried from 7artisans. That being said, I still like the way the images look. I went out and took some sample images for you guys, and I thought it did a decent job. The portraits that I got, I was happy with the results. However, I did wish it was just a tad sharper. When stopped down, this lens performs like any other lenses that came out from third-party lens manufacturers before. The bokeh sort of reminds me of the XF 35mm f1.4, where shooting wide open, the bokeh has this jittery look to it, and the bokeh balls sort of looks similar to that of the 35mm the Fujifilm 35mm f1.4 as well. And combined with its minimum focusing distance at 35 centimeters, you're going to get some interesting look as well. At f1.4, you can totally obliterate the background. There are some purple and green fringing that I saw in this lens as well, so it's not a perfect lens, nor I expect it to be at this price point. But there is a certain uniqueness to it that I like because it's something different from what I've been accustomed to for the past several years. I also use this lens for, again, portrait photography. I shot some portraits the other day, and I'm happy with the results that I got. I shot most of this in f1.4 and f2.8, and I thought in this situation, it gave me great results. I'm happy with the look that it provided. There is also a little bit of lens flare, so you just gotta be mindful of this when pointing this thing out in the sun. This lens is coming in at $169 US, so it's punching above its weight when it comes to its price to performance ratio. In some way, this lens reminds me a lot of the XF 35mm f1.4. It's built sort of similar. I mean, the way that it's stumpy, the autofocusing is loud and clunky. It's not one of the strengths of this lens, but it makes up for it in image quality. Now, some of the shots that I took reminds me of the days when I used to shoot with the Fujifilm XF 35mm f1.4. However, it's not a one-to-one replica. There are certain instances where I got reminded of it. And perhaps it has something to do with the softness that I get from the 7artisans lens. The XF 35mm f1.4 wasn't like the sharpest lens wide open as well, but there's something about that lens where I find truly magical. And the 7artisans, sort of same, it's almost magical. There's like the jittery bokeh, there's the jitteriness of it, the bokeh balls at times, and the less than stellar autofocus that I think shares like similar traits to the XF 35mm f1.4. Now, what I like about these lens manufacturers are that they're making truly affordable lenses that can help you create some beautiful, beautiful looking images. You don't need to break the bank anymore. So you can get beautiful shots with a sub $200 lens like this one. Now, if you're interested in this lens, I'll leave the links down in the description below. Consider subscribing for more lens review videos. And what are your thoughts on this lens? Are you going to pick one up? There's just so many 50mm equivalents that are coming out into the market. So there is truly no better time to get into photography now if you're just starting out. And I would like to thank VitoPal for providing me with a unit to make this review possible. So go check out their link down in the description. And thanks so much.